Here we are. Let me turn the camera around just quickly. Just standing right at the edge of the world. Look at that. It's cold this morning. Who's joined me? Good morning, Marta and Anne, Joy. Hi, Rich. Hi, Lorraine. Peg and Courtney. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Ava. Alrighty. How's everyone doing this morning? Hi, Dreamer. What's the weather like in your part of the world? Let me know in the comments what everyone is and what you're all doing right now before we start, while I get myself back up these stairs. All right, the signal has improved, which is good. Oh, Joanne, it's midnight. Of course it is. So thanks for staying up for me. Look at where we are now. Midnight at Ireland, yep. And it's 9 o'clock in the morning here, or coming up to 9. And we're here in Katoomba. We've just climbed up some stairs from a place that's called Boar's Head. And at this point here, what we're actually looking at, in fact you might be able to see, there's some cars on the track over there. That's a very narrow ridge that falls away on both sides. And on one side you've got the Jamison Valley, on this side you've got the Megalong Valley. And that's where they like to do abseiling from, over there. Anyway, we'll continue back up the track. Excuse my puffing. I'm a little bit out of condition, and there's a few steps here. That's okay. Beautiful morning here, if cold by my standards. And where we are now, you can see the leftovers from a bushfire that went through this area in, I think it was 2015, so around about 7 years ago. Completely devastated. It came up from the valley and destroyed the lookout. We're heading to that lookout over there, which is, let me see if I can point to it. That's where we're headed right now, to that lookout over there. That whole area was completely destroyed by bushfire and jumped the road, and it damaged several houses and destroyed one completely. That was about 7 years ago. So you can see here the burnt out remains of some of the trees. That's a Banksia tree trying to regrow over there. Morning, Tish. So that was one of the more devastating bushfires in this area. So yes, it's 9 o'clock in the morning in early May. What's the date today? I'm not even sure. It's the 7th. I think it's the 7th, Saturday the 7th. Tomorrow's Mother's Day here in Australia. I know it is in some parts of the world, but not everywhere. So what's everyone doing for Mother's Day? Are you going to be spoilt tomorrow? Oh, the wind is affecting? Okay, yeah. Hi, Margie. And hi, Mum. So climbing a few more stairs to get back up to the road. Let's have another spin around and have a look at where we're standing right now. Hi, Sheila. Okay, so for those who've just joined us, we're overlooking the Megalong Valley. and it's just ticked over 9 o'clock. So before I turn the camera around, I'll give you another look at some more of this burnt out remains of burnt trees from the bushfire that happened back in 2015. Let me find a spot to turn the camera around. Okay, this will do. So good morning, everybody. The reason I'm holding my hand like this is that it's very windy and I'm holding the microphone to try and stop the wind affecting the sound. My name's Lynn. We're in Katoomba and we're at a little track that heads out to a spot called Boar's Head. It's a spot that's popular with abseilers and rock climbers. We're about to pass a few of them as we walk around the road here in a moment. But before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting today on the lands of the Gura and Gura people and pay respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Thanks for that tip, Courtney. Yeah, it is. It is hard to not pick up the wind noise. Abseilers. No, abseil is the A-B-S-E-I-L is how it's spelled. And I think it comes from the German word for... well, anyway, what they basically do is they jump out on ropes out over the cliff edges. And they jump down into the valley and then they climb back up again. Not quite like bungee jumping because they're actually sort of, they can use their feet to bounce down the rock cliff. They go down backwards. They use the, it's called a carabiner, I think is the name of the gadget that they use to run the rope through. And it acts, they kind of hold it round under their bum and it acts as the brake, something that I will never ever dare do myself. I think the whole thing's a bit too precarious. I'm never going to try it. Bungee jumping is another thing that I'll never try. Okay, so now we're walking along an area called Cliff Drive. Again, we're in Katoomba, and this is the outlook here across what's called Narrow Neck. So that ridge, where you might be able to see the road running along it, is actually called Narrow Neck, and then it runs out to a point over there, and that divides the two valleys. So on the left-hand side of Narrow Neck, we have the Jamison Valley, which is the views that you can see from Katoomba and Gura, Wentworth Falls. That's where the most of the tourists go. This is a kind of little out of the way. Not so many people come over this side, but this is Megalong Valley. And we're going to go and get a better look of that from the lookout as we walk along the road here. Let's just give this puddle a big miss. How's the sound going now with everybody? Have we managed to deal with that wind issue? We're in a very exposed position up here on Cliff Drive, and thanks for the feedback, guys. So we're walking along this road, and this is where the fire jumped the road. The wind's dropped a bit up here too, so I can take my hand away from the microphone temporarily. So the fire jumped the road here, completely destroyed this lookout that I'm approaching. And on my right is houses that were affected by the bushfires back in 2015. There's kind of a hacienda looking house just there. And I'm not sure if it was that one or the one next to it. One of them was completely destroyed. Just walked past my car. Why are the steering wheels all on the wrong side? because we drive on the left-hand side of the road here, Courtney. You want to see my car? Here's my little car with the steering wheel on the wrong side. There we go. Yep, just like the people in New Zealand and England. We all drive on the left and we have our steering wheels on the right. Yes, DT, it's a perpetual argument. Who's right? Okay, so I'll just not interfere with these people. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's pretty chilly this morning, isn't it?
Down there, it's worth it though.
Absolutely it is. All right, so this is the entry point to Cahills Lookout. And this was all, as I said, this was all completely destroyed by fire. They've rebuilt the track, replaced it with paved concrete. Oh, here comes the wind again. There we go. And I think this cord is getting tangled. Here we go. Alrighty, so this is where the view starts to get really good. Good morning, Sue. At some point these trees are going to grow and we're going to lose the view. But, let's get down to this point here. What I want to do is show you, I was here with my niece about a week ago who's just come for a visit from California. Now that's where I was standing, just over there. If you can see that sort of rocky outcrop, I was standing just above that. And that's where they're going to do the abseiling from just this side of that rock. So I don't know if we can see people up there yet or not. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. So that's the rock called Boar's Head. And let's see if I can point. That's where I was standing, around about there. Okay. And I just need to plug in my power cord because we're losing battery. Must be because of the weather. Okay, so let's come back. And when I was here with my niece the other day, there was an amazing atmospheric, I guess you call it, event where the mist rolls over that ridge. It actually looks like a waterfall, and they call it Phantom Falls. Now what I'm going to do is, I found this new feature of Hago, which means I can post an image, and I'm going to try it and see if I can post the photo that I took the other day. If I can juggle my cords and touching buttons on the screen all at the same time. So here we go. Here's Boar's Head Lookout. Here's the sign for it, Boar's Head Lookout. And elevation up here is around about 1,000 meters. All right, let's see if I can post this image. Good morning, Ronnie Lynn. I saw you yesterday. Thanks for coming back. Let's see if I can post this image. Here we go. All right. Post. That's what this looked like the other day with the mist rolling over the ridge. And if you're standing on the cliff drive on the other side to the east of that ridge, it actually looks like a waterfall flowing over the top. It's just amazing. So there's the Boar's Head. Let's zoom in on that. And now the road along Narrow Neck is more obvious as well. Does it look like a boar to you? Anyway, it's an amazing looking rock formation. So where it looks blue over there in the distance, is that the first time you've seen it, Judy? Yeah, I was rapt when I saw that feature. It looks like I can upload more than one as well, which opens up endless possibilities. So you can really see the blue haze over in Jamison Valley there, and that's part of the reason why it is called the Blue Mountains. They say that the colour comes from the evaporation of the eucalyptus oil coming off the gum trees. It creates an effect looking like blue, making the mountains look blue. I think it looks like a meerkat. All right, so there's Narrow Neck, and this in all its impressive glory is Megalong Valley. Let's get back off Zoom. Get out again. I'm going to walk down these steps here. Over on my right is another plateau, and below it is Nellie's Glen, and that was named by a fellow who used to have a mine down in Megalong Valley. He used to mine shale. He named this little area as Nellie's Glen after his daughter Nellie. And you can see more of the burnt trees on the escarpment here. So the reason it's called Megalong Valley, it is an Aboriginal word. You would think that it comes from a combination of mega and long, but it's in fact it comes from an Aboriginal word, means, oops, I nearly tripped. Don't want to trip over here. Comes from the word for the Aboriginal, meaning looking up from under the rock or looking up at the rocks. I'm just going to concentrate on going down these steps. So you guys enjoy the view while I watch where I put my feet. There we go. I'm not as nimble as I once was. Good morning, Laurel. It's an even better workout on the way up. So either I have to stand down here and talk to you for a long time to avoid going up and puffing all the way, or that's what you're going to be listening to. But I have an interesting story about that, so stay tuned. All right, so we've reached the actual lookout point itself, Cahills Lookout, and it was named for Cahill, which is also what the Cahills, we call it the Cahills Expressway. So there's an anomaly. I call this Cahills Lookout, but the Cahills Expressway. He is one and the same person. The Honourable J.J. Cahill, MLA, Premier of New South Wales. There he is. At the invitation of the Blue Mountain City Council, the Honourable J.J. Cahill, which I think is John James, MLA, Premier of New South Wales. MLA stands for the Member of the Legislative Assembly, which is means that he's a member of the State Parliament. Officially named this lookout on Saturday, the 6th of June, 1959. And I was less than a year old at that point in time. Up on top here, you've got one of those typical dials that sort of points to various points around here. It's a bit tricky to try and see, so I'll see if I can point things out for you from here. This is an even better aspect of Boar's Head and Narrow Neck. And I will take you down in a little while to this secondary lookout point down here. Down in Megalong Valley, the rocks over on Narrow Neck, we do get rock falls and we get landslides, and we have had them even quite recently with all the heavy rain that we've been getting. That actually does look like a landslide over there. I don't know if you can see where I'm indicating that to me looks like a landslide. In fact, there were, sadly, a father and son from a British family were killed in a landslide on one of the tracks in Wentworth Falls a few weeks ago. Just the land is quite unstable after we've had so much rain. Most of the land on top of the Blue Mountains is hanging swamp. It holds a lot of water, so when we get rain, it just inundates it. It becomes totally saturated. So down in Megalong Valley, you have several well-known features, one of which is Cahills River, which is one of the rivers that flows into Warragamba Dam, which is the water supply for Sydney. And it was named after Cox, who was the surveyor, the first surveyor. He went over the mountains and actually surveyed the road. It is. My nose is very cold, and I've got my hand cupping this microphone as best I possibly can. Yes, that dial. It's not a sundial. It's one of those. It's a plaque that sort of points to landmarks. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can show you. Oops, this way. How's that? Can you hear me now? I've really got my hand cupped over my face, over my mouth. It's been tricky. So sorry. Put it inside my jacket. Does that help? Zip up my jacket and try to put the microphone inside my collar. How's that? I'm not getting any response from anybody, so it looks like no one can hear me at all. I will soldier on. We'll go over this side first. Down this way. Yeah, the wind's dropped a bit and I've got the microphone sort of tucked into my collar. Alright, I'm going to concentrate on steps again. So you just enjoy the view while I negotiate these steps. I must look very strange to anyone who encounters me right now with my arm holding my collar over my face. Let me show you. This looks very strange. So I'm like this, trying to guard that microphone. I'm glad I'm entertaining you. So you can't see it, but there is a waterfall that runs off that escarpment into Nellie's Glen and eventually flows into Cox's River. And when it's not windy, you can hear it as well. In fact, there's a trail from the picnic area at the top of the path here that walks over just beyond that ridge line where you actually get to see a tiny sliver. Oh, my battery's failing. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to plug in my battery pack. It must be the cold weather. This isn't the first time I've really had trouble with battery. But if you bear with me, guys, I'm getting a low battery warning and I'm going to plug in my external battery pack. If I can rummage around in my bag and find it. Right, let's unplug from here. Plug it to there. And why is that not working? Everything's joined up, everything's plugged in. All right, okay. And I've got a tangle of cords everywhere. It's ridiculous. I don't know how Albert did this in Iceland. I really don't. With gloves to handle as well. All right, more steps. Let's go. Venga. Okay. And we get to see some of the rock formations around here. Alright, so if you like signs, like taking postcards of signs, there's a plaque for Cahills Lookout and more graffiti. People like to let other people know that they've been here. Morning, Kate. Thank you. Alright, so this is another view of Narrow Neck. Small township down in the valley. And over the other side a series of limestone caves. So back in the late 1800s, I'm not sure when exactly Jenolan Caves was discovered, but it became a tourist attraction, and the railway line went through and used to stop at a tiny little place called Tarrana, a little bit west of here, and then you would hop on a coach to get to Jenolan Caves. Well, Katoomba was already a little bit of a tourist destination back then, and they felt like they were missing out. So they created a trail that went basically from Nellie's Glen, just behind me, down through Megalong Valley, across to Jenolan Caves, and it became known as 6 foot track because that was basically the width required to take the coaches across. Getting a low battery signal again. This is ridiculous. Hang on. Yeah, that's working. Why am I getting a low battery signal? That's plugged in, that's plugged in. I don't know what's going on, guys. I hope this holds till the end of the tour. Okay. Swap hands so I can hold the rail. So the 6 foot track is roughly roughly the length of a marathon. It's been repaired. It fell into disrepair, but it was restored as a walking track in 1984, and now there's an annual event, the 6 foot track marathon, the 6 foot track run. Now I'm down to 1 bar, so I'm going to go back up the track, because obviously we're not getting signal down this side. All right, so back up. Morning, William. Let's go back up these stairs. So the 6 foot track is a really popular walk. It takes 2 days. Well, they recommend 2 days. You can probably do it in 1, but as a walk, it's recommended that you take provisions and camp overnight. There's a few lovely spots down in the valley. Cox's River is one of them. All right, back at the look out. So I mentioned that if I walk back up those stairs, I might be able to give you something a little bit entertaining to work with. I'm going to teach you a Darug word. A lot of the words in the Darug language, excuse my huffing and puffing, this will explain it in a minute. A lot of the words in the Darug language are onomatopoeic, which means, as some of you obviously will know, that the word sounds like the sound that it's trying to describe. So obviously the classic example is something like a babbling brook. Well, the word for heart in the Darug language is but, because that's the sound that your heart makes. But. And mine's probably going but. So there you go. There's the word for heart in the Darug language. Okay, no predators. No, we don't have hyenas in this country at all. Dingoes. Well, we have wild dogs. It's debatable whether there's any pure blood dingoes any longer. They are out there. We have introduced foxes. We have poisonous snakes, but in the 20 years that I've lived in this country, I think I've seen one in this country, in this area, the Blue Mountains. I've seen one snake. You just don't see them. What else did you ask? Boars, snakes, definitely snakes. Killer alligators. We have crocodiles in Australia, not alligators, and definitely not this far south. My daughter had to go to Darwin for a work trip a couple of months ago, and it was 600 kilometres south of Darwin where she stayed, as part of a solar installation that she's working on out in the outback, out in the desert. And they had crocodiles there. We weren't real thrilled about the idea of her getting up close and personal with crocodiles, but that's what they did. It's gorgeous, Judy. Really is. Really beautiful. Alright, I'm going to go slowly make my way back up the stairs, and let's see if I can get my butt racing. I guarantee it will. And we can talk about some of the native plants, flora. This is looks like a low-growing she oak or casuarina. These are the seed pods that you can see. Cockatoos, black cockatoos, love them. Absolutely love them. The wind seems to have dropped a bit, which is good. Whew. So these stairs are the ones that my butt doesn't like very much. All right, let's take them slow. I'll point over this way while I'm climbing the stairs. Back to Boar's Head Lookout. I don't see anyone abseiling yet, so maybe they've decided to go somewhere else. So the minibuses are still at the top, parked up there on the road. No, I've actually searched, because you'd think that there would be. You'd think that there must be legends surrounding that rock formation, but I haven't been able to find any as yet. Trying to re-establish contact with a friend of mine who has connections to the Aboriginal community, and hoping that she can shed some light on it. But I'm sure there must be. It's such a fascinating looking. Let's get close to it again. There's a magpie flying by. You'd think he was just out of shot. Birds are staying out of the wind, I think. We haven't seen many birds this morning. Before I head back up. I don't know if they actually climb the rock formation or not. I haven't seen them. So far I've only ever seen them abseiling down the left-hand side of the main. I've only ever seen them abseiling down that side, but they could well climb up as well. I don't know the safety of it. I'm keeping a lookout every time we come up here. Good morning, Jess. All right, let's head back up the hill. We'll take one last shot, one last pan around before I do. The wind's just picked up again. And you can see where we are in relation to the actual plinth at the lookout there. Okay, so when we get up to the top here, I will take you just a little way along the side track for a slightly different aspect of this area. Because it's flat, sheltered, and more under cover, under the understory. Oh, thank you so much, Courtney. Hear me huffing and puffing again. Apologies for that. All right, so there's a little picnic area here. It leads to a little trail over this side. If we take just a short stroll along it. How much is our petrol per litre? Oh, thanks, Lorraine. Okay, so petrol right now is sitting at somewhere between $1.80 and $2 a litre. Whereabouts are you again, Courtney? That's Australian dollars, of course. In Hawaii. Okay, so the Australian dollar is currently worth about 70 cents US. 71, sitting between 70 and 75 cents. So what is it? There's about four litres, I think, to a gallon, roughly. I'm not sure what the conversion is anymore. But yeah, I think it's a lot more expensive than yours is, put it that way. Yes, it's been steadily climbing, Lorraine, hasn't it? So we get to see into Nellie's Glen from this track. I won't go too far along it because I tried it the other day and it was a bit rough, a bit muddy, but we'll take you a little way along. You can see we're very close to the road here. Just heard a car go by. So again, we're seeing burnt trees, which is, you know, a leftover from that bushfire back in 2015. $1.79, yeah, we're kind of sitting around about that mark most days, but it does shoot up to about $1.90. Thank you, Alison. I appreciate it. All right, so this is where the track starts to go downhill a little bit. There's a few rough steps. So I won't go too far along here. just a little way to give you a taste of what, well, this is actually pretty typical of what tracks in the Blue Mountains would be like. Not at the moment, although I'm probably used to the smells of the bush as well. Saying that, there's plenty of eucalyptus around here. Look, there's some right down here. So if I was to crush that leaf, I would definitely get a eucalyptus smell. Okay, here's a nice spot to look at the escarpment from. And I'm glad I've still got a phone signal, because if I trip over and twist my ankle, I know I can make a phone call. All right. I think when I get down to that little point down there, I might stop and make that my turning around point. And I might make that my farewell point as well. There you go, where it flattens out a bit here. Here we go. I think we'll stop here. It's getting a bit windy again, so it seems like a signal to say farewell. Thanks everyone for joining me. Next time I do this, I hope the wind's not quite as brisk as it is today. Just do one. My camera's pointing skyward. I'll try and get you down a bit. It's a beautiful area, and there's so much scope for other tours as well, which I'm exploring all the time. So I'm really hoping to bring you plenty more different views of the Blue Mountains. All right, let's turn this camera around. Thanks for joining me, Judy. I'm glad you got to visit it again as someone who's familiar with the place and been here before. And thanks everybody for joining me this morning. I really hope the wind wasn't too much of an obstacle. And I don't have anything immediately planned just now, but keep an eye out, because I do plan to post more tours over the next few days. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you took some lovely postcards, we'd love to see them on the Facebook group. I live in Lawson, Judy, about 15 minutes from here. So I'm hoping to do the sunrise walk, which was my first tour when I returned to the Blue Mountains about a month ago. I'm hoping to do that again soon. Now that sunrise is a little bit later now, even though it's colder. And of course, if you felt that you enjoyed the tour and you're able, I'm always grateful for any tips that you can spare. Oh, there's that wind again. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to finish it here, because this wind is actually just feels like it's picking up even stronger. Thanks everybody. Bye for now.